Sure. Let's see if it is actually posted. Yep. Everything is set. Do I need anything else? Okay, and that is also confirmed to be live. I don't really know how many people will be there. We'll see, we'll see. Oh, and let's not forget to allow people to watch along as well. You don't need to, cannot forget to just let friends know on the server know. I still kinda hate that they don't use the full-on art they used in the DS version. Why is Geo legless? I do not know. No, no. Maybe I just need... Do I want to grind? Oh. I'm stuck. No! Damn it. Why I can't get behind here? Okay. Oop. You... I like secretly watching rehearsals from here, huh? Peeping Tom? I'm not a Peeping Tom! Yeah, right. Anything else? Nothing else. Basketball zone crates. There's quite a few. Let's see what this is. Gravity stage. Not bad. How much do I care? Nope. Ooh, upgraded. Let's see. Right. Like this. Oh, come on. Hit, 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 hit. Please, please, hit. Well done. $1,360 is such a weird number. Why so specifically 1360? And that's 820. I just gotta want to say, are these just numbers that are spelling out words or something? No. It's atomic, so the clock never loses time. There we go. Oh, I've got my typing sound still on. Oops. I won't annoy you guys with the typing sounds, although it is pretty fun to just have the ding the whole time from a typewriter. Sure. There we go. And now it's 710. What is it with these numbers? I wanted to talk to the truck, not look into the press's transfer, thank you. In the middle of training, it's my great dream to become the greatest delivery navvy in the world. I'm gonna keep on running until I beat the world record. You don't even have legs, how do you run? These are all electric. Oh boy. Oh well. Ugh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There we go. Wow, awesome. Oh, please look this way, Mr. Delivery Navy. Ah, he's snarled at me. Can you please not get in my way? I'm cheering for Mr. Delivery. And go. Sickness Wing. Dance. Oh, Ghost Pulse too. That's actually pretty good. Paralyzing. Yes, yes, yes. So much better than Wide Sword, I'd say. Built-in paralysis. Without any combos. That is so good. I was actually kinda intending to kill time. Oh. Because no one has showed up from the Discord side of things. And we are at a kind of stage where there is going to be a story beat, and I don't really want people to miss the story beats. On the other hand, we'll see, we'll see. Cloud shots. Oh, that's pretty nice. Let's do it in place of Longsword. Went from double into a triple. Did not expect that. Hey. Another one of these. These are good. Where is he? Right here. Hey, Ugly. You've got a lot of nerve picking a fight with us. You're Megaman, right? Looks like we got famous all of a sudden. This is funny. You're worse off than I figured you'd be bumming around inside a cheap body like that. What? Come on, show me all you've got. You've got the power. Show me all the powers you've got to take out the. Sure. Big. What's going on? It's like he suddenly changed into something completely different. He is big. Omega exists, please. Healing. Not what I'm needed right now. Oh, he's just not taking any damage. Cheap. Let's see, this. Oh. I can take this guy's all. He's really, really strong. Oh boy. Is that all you got? He's really strong. Now have a taste of my power. Take this. The power of hug! Gio's not really a hug person. I can understand. I'm very introverted myself. I don't really like being touched. Yeah. Too powerful. Can't hold out. Here, have some more. Hey, Lepra. Thank you for following. Hey, Gio. Get a hold of yourself. I'm still alright. Right at the last second you changed out of waveform. Talk about close call. Hey, White, what happened to that guy? That really tall one. By the way, Lepra, if you join in on my server, you can just watch from... Okay. You can also just join VC and just talk along if you wanna. He's gone. But yeah, I narrated most of the story. It's gonna be rough on my throat, not gonna lie. What was he? What he was, Gio, was just a big jammer. You know what jammers are. People who just views with viruses. I know this sounds crazy if you don't play the games, but whatever. It sounded like he knew who we were. Or is that just my imagination? Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Ray.
How's it going?
Going good, going good. What did you see?
What did I see? Well,
Just playing, while I was playing.
I didn't see anything.
Ah. Oh, sorry, maybe another time for that. I had something else to say. Okay, that's fine, Lepra. Yeah, just join in if you want to, but I understand. Today's weather is pretty nice, don't you? Okay, oh right. What happened? We were up against a big jammer. Guy just went big. Omega X's didn't understand. It just was like, what is this form? He just became big. He went macro.
Ah, okay.
Also, the game didn't allow me to defeat him. His health bar was just steady at 800. And then he hugged us. Gio doesn't like being touched, I presume, just like I do, because I'm introverted. And then
yeah,
Gio transformed back, and this person is being creepy. Today's weather's pretty nice, don't you think? Days like these really warm a person's heart. I wish every day could be like today.
This is why we get to destroy people, because the weather's...
Hi, N. I think Pokemon Black and White came out a year or two later after this. At least.
Something like... Yeah.
Huh? Well... You're Gio, right? You know me? Of course. I'm one of your classmates. I've seen your picture in the yearbooks. So I knew who you were right away. So, how do you? I'm Patrick Spriggs. Hi, Patrick. Just call me Pat. But isn't that kind of rude? Look, what you call someone is important. You can be better or worse friends based on what you call that person. So, Pat. You wanna hear something funny? Every morning when attendance is taken, Mr. Sharper always calls out your name, even though he knows you're not there. But of course no one answers back. And then I'd wonder to myself, just what kind of kid is Gio? I'm glad she turned out to be a nice person. A nice person? I don't think so myself, but... You're humble too. But it's not like I hit that quality. Beth. It's just a premonition, but I get the feeling things would be a lot more interesting at school if you were to come. I think we would make great friends. Friends, huh? Oops, look at the time. I've got to go. Well, this may be goodbye, but I hope I'll see you again. Later. Totally not being creepy or something. Nope.
No, totally not.
So, do you have any
My
puzzle
bad,
boxes, Patrick? And do you happen to have a hat? No, really, he kind of looks like N, and I'm not going to let him live with that down. Do you transform into a Zoroark? Do you?
Please. Please. Please.
That fat guy seems like a nice person. And that teacher was nice, too. School, huh? Ah! I totally forgot. I'm supposed to be looking at the set. They're probably all wondering where I went. They probably think you ran off.
So you've returned to school after a 10-year absence. Well,
Yeah.
3 year, but
3 year. But yeah, a light got dropped on us. It was that guy who turned giant. I just tried fighting that person. I would have defeated him, but game said, ha ha ha, no. Story. Where were you? Sorry, I kind of got lost looking for the bathroom. You're so hopeless. And now it's close to dinner time. I guess we should all go home for dinner today. Now listen up, Gio. Come to school tomorrow, okay? If you don't come, we'll be short one actor. And this set will be all for naught. Phew, thank goodness. Now I can finally go to Mr. Boreal's. Should I talk more to them? To the posse?
yeah, I mean,
That was quite a long bathroom break.
I'll just be a second. My blooming
What took you? You're no more of making the price right? Hmm?
I need to get some batteries from downstairs. 1 second.
Sure.
My mouse died. Rude.
Suddenly I've defeated the boss while you're away again. I could beat up a kid with cancer. The funniest thing to say and put it that way in out of context. Do I do it? You? The manager of the superstar and the superstar who knocked you out.
And back.
You. That asshole manager who broke into people's houses looking for his superstar who he exploited for all the money in the world.
I beg your fucking pardon?
You saw that... That's literally what this character was. You did see that scenario, right?
No.
Oh.
If that was yesterday,
Yeah, it was
I wasn't
yesterday.
ill.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't ill because I was too much Xbox.
Okay. Recap. Were you there for the Swan being defeated?
No, we got to the swan dance happening.
Okay. Swan guy... Wait. 1 moment. Damn, I totally forgot you weren't there. Because you were out of social battery, that's what it was. But yeah, we fixed this black hole generator, we went into this thing. So Cygnus took over this space by just dancing on top of this sphere. We defeated Cygnus. After that, he just wouldn't give up, and he said again to Aaron, the one he thought would leak his plans. Okay, take off your helmet. I filled this room with very thin air. But because betrayal is the essence of society, I hate that I remembered that sentence, you wouldn't do that, because you wouldn't trust me. Lo and behold, Boreal takes his helmet off, and he breathes very thin air. Mind you, this is a zero-G environment. He would be totally fucking dead.
Yeah.
Without his suit. Okay, after that, we met a girl named Sonia. Sonia Strum.
Mm-hmm.
This girl.
Yep.
Her mother is dead. And she's very lonely because of that, but she's also an up-and-coming idol. And she has a manager who wants to make her sing for money. Yeah, her father is never mentioned, but I presume... she said she was alone with only her mother, and then her mother died. But she always sang songs for her mother. Her mother wanted her to be successful, want to just share her music with everyone. So, after a while, Sonia picked up a song, just singing.
Yeah.
However, her manager hounded her, just broke into our house. Oh, you missed Bob Copper. Oh god, I forgot about that too. Okay. Yeah. So the manager breaks into our house. The second time someone breaks into our house, just looking for something or someone. So we hide Sonia. However, Zach, the little nerd, he ratted Sonia out when we were trying to hide her here in Megaman. So Sonia has a breakdown as she flees from her manager, and she finds Harp. And Harp says, "Hey, I can give you power to just stand up against anyone who wants to exploit your music." And she goes on a musical rampage.
As you do.
But because she is girl, and also because she had a similar situation as Geo found it to be very personal. And as she was crying in front of him, Geo was like, "You know what? Do you want to be my brother?" After a lot of deliberation. And now we've got our first brother. She is Bro 1.
My god, I can't believe she had a... all that for sex change operation.
What? Sex change operation?
Because it's a brother, not a sister.
Oh my fucking god. Also, is the stream still up?
Bad.
Oh god. I need to check something. Is the stream still working? Because it said here that the chat was... No, it's still working. It's still working. Okay. Last stream also, the stream just crapped out in the middle of something.
Oh.
Anyways, there's also a cop who was just chasing after Z-Waves, which is what the aliens emit that we fuse with. He just barged into Geo's home, just looking for Z-Waves, apologizes, but then asks a shit ton of questions to Geo. But eventually he leaves. And the Megaman wasn't there, but he comes to know of it and he's like, "We need to erase the evidence." We hijack a fucking pitcher machine, lure the cop into the line of fire of the pitching machine using Mega, and then just fucking knock him out cold with a baseball to the head. And then erase his personal files.
Jesus Christ.
It was hilarious.
What the fuck?
This game. Oh, fuck. Also, we found an optional boss. "I saw you giving me hard looks just now. I ain't gonna be soft with you. Come on! Are you gonna just leave me here all alone?" What do you think his name is? Kids got it rough, I tell ya.
I don't know, fucking Crabbot. Because guy kind of looks like a bit like a crab.
Oh.
Oh, cancel. Oh, yeah,
It's got cancer. Oh boy. The jokes write themselves. Almost everyone makes the cancer joke. He also just says, he straight up says he has cancer. But it's not cancer as in the sickness. But, not sickness wing, by the way, but in the way
it is. He's not down with the sickness.
No. Also, I've got a weapon that fires really rapidly. Oh. Sequenced that wrong. Alright, and because Sonia is now our brother, we can use a roulette. That's useless. Well, not really useless, but I play well enough to not really need it.
Yeah, I've currently fucking... I said, this is what happens when I miss a day.
Oof.
But, yeah, not really done much today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I still have my bad knee, so... I work from home again, so...
Yeah.
Also, while I just casually murder this kid.
Nothing like,
Nobody can just beat the crap out of me. I'll be waiting for a rematch.
Jesus Christ.
Alright. Let's not go here. That's where the powered-off boss lives. Oh, right. While I was going against Harp Notes, I found the strongest form of Taurus. He kicked my ass.
Huh.
Look, he has 1,400 hit points, while I only had 250. Cut me at least some slack.
So you didn't get an insta-kill, got it?
No. No, not at all. Hey, Joe. Did something happen today? Actually... Oh? The pendant started... Oh yeah, the pendant started glowing. Geo had a weird dream. And there were 3 animals who suddenly appeared before him. He has a pendant. You didn't notice he had a pendant, okay.
No, because I wasn't here for the first time you played it, so I didn't see... So...
Okay. Kid has a pendant. It suddenly glowed when he made a brother band with Sonia. You missed a shit ton. Oh boy. So... After that, he got a dream where he was visited by 3 animals. A Pegasus, a lion, and a dragon. Do you remember what the full name of this game is?
Bassinet Walk.
Nope. What? What?
No.
What? No.
It's not Megaman Battle.
No, it's Starforce. Megaman Starforce.
Oh, right.
Specifically, Pegasus version. The pendant started glowing? I thought maybe you'd know something about it. Well, I know your dad used to wear it, but I don't know much else. Oh, right. He also asked his mother what it was. She didn't know. But it's not that it lit up on its own. Would you mind if I take a look at it? Okay.
It has Z-Wave properties or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it was that way, so... An hour later. I got it, yeah. I had to take it apart, but it turns out that this pendant is something like a transmitter. A transmitter? Then this really isn't a regular pendant, but this transmitter won't work unless something activates first. And the thing that activates it is...
Friendship.
A brother band. Huh? What do you mean? If this pendant is very close to where a brother band is being formed, it will pick up on that and the transmitter will turn on, and that's what causes it to glow. It never does that in any other game than this one.
The fuck?
Why would that not tell anyone about it? I don't know, but it's possible that your pendant is connected to someone somewhere. But who would it be connected to? You don't think it could be my dad, do you? If it is, then I can contact him. Mr. Borrell, how do I use this? The transmitter is very old and beat up, so I don't know I don't think you can send a signal. Maybe if you want a place with a good reception, then maybe you can send something. A place with good reception. Yeah, if you go to the roof of this building, you might be able to get something. If you take your pendant here, there, and wait, someone might just contact you. The roof? Okay, thank you, Mr. Boreal. And guess where the roof is? Just outside his office.
Yeah. That I do remember, because that's what we thought Mr. Depressed. What is fucking called? Dubious?
No, Tom Dubious we thought was in
Dubious, the swan guy.
Yeah, but he was in
because
the
he had a
space
scene on the roof.
Oh,
yeah,
right, he did it. Yeah, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I do remember some things.
No, I misremembered. I can't believe this band is a transmitter. And that it reacts to broadbands. Dad, what is this thing? It's glowing again. So someone trying to contact us? Dad? The light is getting brighter. Huh?
Oh,
Did you just feel something? Hey Gio, sorry to cut you off, but there's a really strong EM wave coming right at us. You have reached the answer machine of Kelvin Stellar. Please leave your message after the rumbling.
Jesus Christ.
At a very high speed, too. What? This is not good. What's going on? Gio, hurry up and bring that pendant! What? Why? That thing's coming down, who knows what. Hurry up and smash it before it's too late. No! What? It's all I have from my dad. Oof. What? These guys. They're the dark shadows I saw in my dream. What are they doing here? You seem to be surprised, Gio. Is this just another dream? You are not dreaming. This is reality. Why, thank you, giant floating Pegasus, lion, and dragon.
Yeah, you know, it's also not... It's also a normal thing to occur every day.
We have words that must be conveyed. You mean you have things to tell me? But who are you guys? We are shadows of the three satellites admins. Satellite Pegasus admin, Pegasus Magic, Leo Kingdom, and Dragon Sky. I'm not going to read those all out because that is very oppressive. We cannot leave our satellite. So we have taken these forms to speak with you. Water. The admin satellites. These guys have EM bodies just like me. Why would they protect a bunch of Earth satellites? The satellites admins? Here? The time to fight draws near. We came to prepare you. Prepare us for our fight? A bond which you must protect has been born. Is that not correct? That is the signal. Bond? Are you talking about the brother band? Correct. Your pendant informed us that you have made a brother. We have waited for you to form a brother band. What? Humans gain true power only when they have something they must protect. How we have waited for this day when you would obtain that power. A grave danger to this planet draws near. If it were to descend onto Earth, you would lose all those you hold dear. Your newborn bond would be severed. A grave danger? Yes. And you must stand and face that danger. Why us? It was written into the fate of this planet. Bullshit. From the moment the child of the man... Nice sentence there. Who owned that pendant was born onto planet Earth. Jeez. Louise. The fate of this world was sealed, as it were.
Okay, Dragon Satellite admin, what the fuck is wrong with your speech patterns?
The owner? You mean my dad? You know my dad? We cooperated with your father to give birth to the broadband. You made the broadband with my dad. He was a kind man who treasured relationships above all else. The visualizer and pendant you possess now were used by your father to communicate with us. He talked with you satellite admins? Also, it's a visualizer. How can people not hear FM beings without a visualizer? I'm now just questioning. With your father, Kelvin Stellar, at the center, we are bound by the threads of fate. Geo and you as well, Omegixes. Only the two of you can stand up to the calamity. The fate of this planet lies with you. The fate of the planet? Hey, isn't that a bit drastic? Hardly. It would be fine if we could fight, however we cannot stand up to this. The only thing that can is the power you and the Megathis hold when you fuse. In other words, the power of Megaman. How do you know that he's called Megaman? In preparation for the fated days coming, we have felt that we needed to confer upon you a special power. The power of the stars, the Starforce. But for us to give this power... exactly. Especially when it holds no special meaning in the later games. You must know the value of your brothers and must possess a strong heart that is willing to protect all that is dear to it. But if you just need a human who can change into waveform and has a brother, then there's also Harp Node. If you give them the Starforce, wouldn't that be enough for you guys? Unfortunately, only you can receive our powers. The frequency of the Ephemian known as Harp is too different from our own. However, even as an Ephemian, Omegix says, your wave frequency is surprisingly similar to ours. Therefore, it must be you two or no one else. You say it like, wait a second here. You can't possibly be survivors of planet AM?
My God.
Indeed, we are survivors of the planet AM. Metal Gear. Metal Gear. What? Planet FM? Planet FM was Planet AM was Planet FM's neighbor, kid. The Amians, who had EM bodies just like Fmians, lived on that planet. The twin planets lived in a peace a long time ago, but when the current FM king ascended, a war broke out all of a sudden. Actually, you can't really call that a war. It was an attack from Planet FM on Planet AM, and at the end of the attack, Planet FM brought it out. Their ultimate weapon. Andromeda.
I thought I was going to say digital radio waves instead of analog.
What is it called again? Fuck, what replaced FM again? DBS?
Radio. I'm googling. DAB.
DAB.
Audio broadcasting.
Before the terrible power of Andromeda. Nope, I clicked out of the game. The people of Planet AM were wiped out. I don't think anyone survived. So why would you and the AMians want to give me, your enemy, any power at all? Omegases, allow me to pose a question to you. Why would an Ephemian such as yourself turn traitor to your own planet? That's true, why would Mega do that? That's my business. Then do not question what is our business. Fine then, do what you want. Now then, before we confer the power onto you, we must state one thing very clearly. You are weak. I'm gonna punch you. Okay. What? We have seen how easily you were crushed by that colossal jammer. That's because he got the... That's because he dropped the... He got the drop on us, literally, right, Geo? That's... Do not avoid the point, Megaxes. Further, it is not certain that you two can receive our powers. To obtain Starforce, you must first undergo the Star Trials. The time trials start now, and you failed.
The store everything. Wow, why is everything store related? We get it. It's
at your current
awful.
level, we are not 100% certain you can pass. However, if you cannot pass even these trials, then future of this planet is in grave. Whoa, shit! Shade, all the shade. I can't prop the whole world up. Stop cowering, Geo. And you guys, don't underestimate us. We'll pass your city tests, you'll see. Mega, calm down! You don't need to get so worked up. Then let the trials begin. Survey the area with your visualizer. Huh? Beep, beep. What are those things?
They look like
Beep,
a
beep.
chow.
These are the Star Guardians. They are scattered throughout this area. There are 5 in total. Defeat them all with your power you possess. Hydrate, Fox. You really need to hydrate if you would talk a shit ton.
Yeah.
Godspeed to you. Bye!
Gio just going, what the fuck?
Alright, let's do this. Come on, Gio. Hey, what's wrong, Gio? I'm just thinking. This trial is like my connection with my dad. It's soul motivator. So if I can pass this, I'm one step closer to him. That's how I see it. Well, maybe. Yeah. Then let's not waste any time. Any more time. Paul's in. Roger. What? What? Why? I can understand it why the Battle Network Mega Man would say Roger, because he's a program.
But... what the hell?
Yeah. Do I want to go there? Nah. TF time. Still, Legless Geo is so weird. I'm looking over there across the street sometimes when I looked at some green wave residue left behind. I wonder why it's there or what causes it. Sounds like I need to investigate more. Let's talk about this thing. That's a random drop because it's green. There's also blue ones which are just set drops.
Okay.
There's only one of them. I knew it. I knew it. I knew there just would be one right there. Because it's annoying to get to. Also, I've got some new attacks. Let's see. I am a Star Guardian. The Star Trials are trying on the soul. Do you wish to take my Star Trial?
How times can you say store in a single sentence?
Oh. There we go. Masterfully played. You got Starlight number 4. Okay, there's one up there as well. Do I cut time by going in and out? I don't think so. I am a Star Guardian. Star Trials are for the Starforce. Do you wish to take my Star Trial? Is this just gonna be the same thing all over? Is this just gonna be the same thing over and over again?
It's the same thing the whole time.
Okay, let's rock out. Oh, right, they're fire elemental. Oops. This should be nice. There we go. A 5? Really? Oh well. Masterfully played. And of course there's a random battle immediately thereafter because screw me, I guess.
I mean, okay.
No, screw you. Quake song. Oh, that just stops me from moving. It's pretty bad. Oh hey, Harp Note is giving me Harp Note. That attack I
So
used where she was playing the guitar.
So she has a Mega Man form as well?
Yeah, she has a
or-
transformation as well.
Ah.
That's the idol I was talking about. Remember when I was talking about that or not?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, okay. I'm a Star Guardian. If you wish to obtain the Starforce, you must first pass the Star Trials. Do you want to take the Star Trial? Yes, please.
What was this head on wheel?
You've never seen these either, okay.
No! What was like, it's like, oh, what's that fucking transformer called?
I have no idea which one you're talking about, so sure.
It's not Devastation.
Huh.
It was like, I'll Google it, because... Blooming big wheel guy. Is it Scav?
Okay, paralyzed, and use that. Hehe. Masterfully played. Starlight free. 2 more to go. Okay, I need to go here at the very least.
Yeah, God, it actually is demolishable.
No 2 star harp notes. I'm sad.
We'll just post TF Wiki because...
Transformation wiki?
Technically yes, but I said the guy is...
Demolish Shore with an O
Demolish.
at the end.
That's a wheelball, but the guy's literally just a big fucking wheel. I put in... I don't want to know how they made a toy of it.
You know that guy in college? The one who juggled and rode a unicycle everywhere? Yeah, we hated him too.
I never understood the appeal of unicycles.
I'm actually like, I
Or...
kind of want to try to ride one. What the fuck is that?
That is the 2011 Transformers toy?
Why is he
No, sorry,
twerking? Why is he
2009.
twerking?
Wow.
What? No, it's
Fuck.
manspreading, excuse me.
Is it manspreading if they don't have legs?
I am a star guy. He has legs! What the fuck are you talking about? He's all legs!
No. No, those things are his arms. He
What
doesn't
the
have
fuck?
legs. He literally rolls on the fucking wheels.
I am a Star Guardian. Would you like to take my trial? Star trial.
I wish that you would say something else apart from the same line of dialogue every 3 times.
Fuck
He's
you.
a man, not a god. Come, but he's a man, not a god.
Also a triple
like,
delete
man-
right there. And I only get 700? Screw you! Masterfully played. Starlight 1. Only 1 more to go. Ooh, I really want that poison knuckle. I'ma take that. That's really nice for boss fights.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I've actually bought Shadow Generation, so that I'm actually just going through the
Oh
Generation.
boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Are you gonna play the game to completion?
The Shadow Generations, yeah, I said I'm
Oh
playing the
no!
original
I wish you so much luck with that.
Okay, be honest with you, I really only bought it because I saw the TF.
TF?
Yeah. The
Huh.
Shadow Monster TF.
Oh. Huh. Did not know that. But, Shadow the Hedgehog has something like...
No, Generations.
Yeah, but Shadow the Hedgehog is part of Generations. That game is something like 18 endings. I'm not even kidding.
Oh. Okay, as in Shadows Generations that came out last year.
No, just Shadow the Hedgehog the game.
Yeah, I played Shadow the Hedgehog the game. No, I'm going to be playing Shadow Generations after because I got the Shadow Generations on Steam.
Yeah, but that includes Shadow the Hedgehog, right?
No.
Oh, what?
Shadow Generations includes Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations, which is a separate game.
Yeah, but that's just Shadow the Hedgehog, right?
No.
No? Huh?
No, it's a completely different game.
Oh. Huh. Did not know that. Weird.
But, yeah,
Then they marketed it so badly.
I think it just misunderstood.
The Star Trials are the test for those who wish to obtain Star
Like,
Force.
it ties
Star Trials.
in.
Yes.
Like, I know it ties into Shadow. I know it ties into, Shadow the Hedgehog because.
Oh, it's those stupid wings. That's not a TF.
There's more TF forms. That's just that. That's literally just the false.
Oh, Doom morph. Oh, that. Why does it look like that's Doom thing from Shadow the Hedgehog? Probably because it is, isn't it?
I mean, I'm just saying, it looks hot.
Eh. Oh, what the fuck, game?
Well, I'm sorry if I'm a certified monster fucker, okay?
Huh.
But yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I saw. I saw that one.
Yeah.
I'll be there for a while that happens.
Yeah.
Oh. Just cozied into there. Masterfully played. That's it. Alright, that's all of them. Geo. Sup. You have passed the first trial. However, this is where the real trial begins. We will now hold the second trial. Bring the starlights you have gathered and come before us. Let's go. Let's go, Geo!
Yeah.
Battle Network and Starforce will nip. They were standing right there! Oh my god. No. I'll just go where they were and hope they're there. Can I run? Okay, thank you.
Okay, time to run like hell.
I'm just annoyed by the encounter rates, so... There we go. Oh my god. Okay, do we have a boss fight here? Yes, we do! Why were you just suddenly... We've got all the starlights. Now what? Patience. Next.
You
I
must
will be
wax
your
my
opponent.
coal.
No. He doesn't have a car. Wax my satellites.
Oh god.
I will be your opponent. If you can defeat me, then the power of the stars is yours. We're no weaklings. We'll win, and then you'll see what we're really made of. Do not assume me to be the same as the Star Guardians. Here he comes, Geo. Roger.
Pulls out a fucking gun and just shoots him.
I mean, arm gun. Pegasus Shadow. Huh. Full name is actually Pegasus Magic. I think it's just called Shadow because it's the shadow of Pegasus. No.
He's not freed from the
Bad
satellite
horsey.
as of yet.
Go back to My Little Pony, thank you.
No, Pokemon.
Oh, he's just...
That is clearly an Alolan Rapidash.
Uh-huh. He does not stagger. That's bad. That's really bad. And he's relentless. Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Get out! I do not trust myself to be fast enough for that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Ow. I wanted to actually say that I was doing quite good, just dodging everything and then just hubris. Oh, right, fuck. Let's do this. There we go. Way easier than you have when you actually finish him, fight him. We did it! Very good. You are stronger than I expected. Hey, don't treat me like a kid. Why did you go easy on us? He was going easy on us? Yeah, I can tell. That wasn't his full power. It is not my goal to fight you. That bout was merely to assess your potential. As we thought you possess enough want within you to protect those of this planet. Holy shit, sentence structuring, Jesus. Receive this, Geo. My Starforce. Yeah, your body is glowing, Geo.
I'm going Super Saiyan! Oh, Savage Question stop seeing his vision
That's it?
fall though.
Huh? Nothing feels different. Where the heck is this Starforce? Are you just playing tricks with us? The Starforce is within you. All along. I'm sorry. I had to do it. The biggest cliche of them all.
Yeah.
However, what you can call whether you can call upon that power is up to you. What does that mean? I never stated that the trial was over. The Starforce is a power of protection. I can only be called upon when the will to protect someone is very strong. You have not found that will as of yet. Screw you. The next step is up to you. We will continue to watch you and your growth. Ta-ta, son of Calvin Stellar. We believe in you. You will make the Starforce your own. Peace. They're gone. Oh, dang, I remembered something. Pegasus Magic, Leo Kingdom, Dragon Sky. Those guys were known as the Three Sages of AM. They had a ton of wisdom and strength. And they were very influential. With a C? Huh. Amians on planet AM. I had heard that they left planet AM before it was destroyed, but who would have thought they'd end up here on Earth? I feel like this is all some kind of crazy dream. The satellite admins are aliens, and they worked with my dad, and getting the Starforce. Well, we don't know that yet. I'll believe it when I see it in action. Whew! Boy, am I tired, kid. Yeah, so much happened all in one day. Come on, let's go home. I never really looked... Oh, wait, I did look at this exhibit. Satellites, 24 hours a day. Satellites like Pegasus, Leo, and Dragon fly around the Earth, providing us with all kinds of information. It was right there in the text.
Oh, cheesy peeps.
And that's why it's called Megaman Starforce Pegasus version. Because you fight the pony.
And that's the only difference between the versions.
Kinda. It's also what you get from being brothers with people. So Pegasus gives you extra capacity for blue cards, the Megas. I don't really know what the other ones do. Because I forgot. Day's over. Do you want to try to go to school again? Try going to school again? All right. The press also just dragged us into school because she said there was a play and we had a very important role to play. And I was thinking about casting you for our class play, of course.
It's like, oh, congratulations. Also, you've been in school 3 years. Well, now time for you to go on to stage and take part in this play.
Russell. I can't sleep. Right, that's his teacher. You ever want to talk, you know where I am. I hope I'll see you again. Turns into a Zoroark. Runs off.
I mean, to be fair, yes.
Mood. Ah! I can't sleep. I keep thinking about school. And that's the pop star. The idol, I mean.
Mm.
You can find a new you too, Gio. Let's both work hard at it. A new me. I know. I finally get it, Sonia. I can't go on like this. I have to change. Dad, I've decided I want to move forward with my life. I'm going to try going to school. I'll try going to school. What are these sentence structures, really?
I don't think they know.
A few days later. Well, I told you to school you're going again, but Gio, are you really ready? I'm okay, Mom. You don't need to worry. Alright, I'm off. Well, that was easy. Be careful. Okay, bye, Gio. So now you want to go to school, huh? Well, it doesn't make any difference to me. Funny he says that because in the anime, he just nags his ear off to go to school and he hates every living second of it. As you do. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
I can wave change too! So let's battle! Let's meet on the American Fire Wave Road. I'll be waiting for you. Oh, he doesn't say he wave changes with. This is crap. This is Crap Kid. Crap Kid says, yeah, he has gotten cancer. It's so infinitely funny.
Oh.
Giant fucking bomb.
My
Also,
weapon.
There's also Electric Punch. Also, I've done none of the side quests. I have not been interested in those. They're always tedious and not really that interesting. I see you're going to listen to me. That's good. Attendance will be important. Now, welcome back to school, Gio. You'd better appreciate my kindness. Now, before you go to our classroom, you should say good morning to our teacher. He's always in front of the teacher's room. Hello, lady. Welcome. How about trying today's special? I'm just gonna disappear right in front of your eyes. What do you think about it?
No one will believe you, Grandmama.
Apparently, I need to be somewhere. Where the frick is the teacher's room? Over here? Over here. Oh, Gio. Your mother told us you were coming back. I had really hoped you would. So I hope you'll find the school fun. Well, class is starting so soon. Your class is 5A on the 2nd floor. Okay, so I need to take 2 stairs. Gotcha. I wonder if that's also a thing in the UK. That the floor system is different.
Oh god, I'm trying to remember.
Because in the Netherlands, I'd be on the ground floor right now.
Yeah, because usually in the UK, ground floor is, you know, 4th floor that. You usually go ground floors. But as I said, just because a lot of things have become, sadly, Americanized.
The 1st floor is the ground floor in the US.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, you would be on the 0th floor, the ground floor.
Yeah.
So that's why I made the joke, oh, I'll need to take 2 sets of stairs, because I know exactly what this is. This is American localization.
Yeah.
What is this? Are those cups? What the heck? Those do not look like cups. Also, what the hell are these trees? Why are they blue?
It's blue broccoli, obviously.
Planet Namek, okay.
Before Planet Sheen.
It's a really big speaker. How to raise fish. Creature fishing control panel. What the fuck? Few people know there's a powerful sensor in there. What the heck? Oh, weird. I think I'll just make way to the classroom. Yep, it just said 1F over there. American localization, thank you.
Yep. You've got to finish your homework. Well, you get to suffer.
Did they just fucking lock the emergency exits? What is this? The 1960s or something?
I mean, you know, it's definitely.
Oh no! I can make this even worse. Is this a Swiss après-ski lounge?
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask a question. Why does it look like? Why is there a fucking tunnel in the TV?
That's a speaker. A very large speaker.
That is not a good speaker design.
It looks like an ear canal.
Then it'd be a listener, not a speaker.
I know. Also, that's obvious Japanese. That's interesting because in the Battle Network games, they would scrub that kind of thing out. Or maybe because this is based on the Japanese version that they just... Huh?
Hey,
Hello.
Code.
Hey, Code. I cannot hear if someone joins in, so...
You're fine.
Yeah. You missed the Star Trials. They were utterly boring. But you did miss the Giant Dragon.
No.
The dragon didn't really have much to say except for really confusing sentences that I was trying to pronounce.
But I love dragons.
I'm in charge of cleaning today. I'm going to make sure there's no litter anywhere. Let's get... Oh wait, it's A, not B. Oops. I wonder what my classmates are like. I really hope they aren't all like the Prez. I'm so nervous. Jeez, I wonder who our main characters are. Now I have some good news for you kids. I'd like you all to meet your new classmate. Come on in. Not gonna lie, I would already have sat down. And the teacher would have just pointed me towards... me. Oh well. This is Geo Stellar. He's coming back to school starting today. I hope you all will make him feel welcome. Well, Geo, why don't you say hi? Hi, Geo. Hi, I'm Geo Stellar. Nice to meet everyone. Clap, clap, clap. Yo, nice to meet ya. Yeah. Mr. Shepper! Yes, Luna? I have some news for everyone too. Geo is going to play a part in our play for the school event. Yes, that part. That part? You really think? Is the part I'm playing really that important? Alright, settle down. You can all talk about the play during afternoon practice. Right now, we've got to find Geo's seat. Next to the obviously shaped pat hole. Okay. Yes, sir. I didn't read what he said. Oh well. Hey, Geo. Oh, hey, Pat. I'm glad to see you again. Yeah, same here. Now then. Let's start for a first period.
Mr. Shepard, please tell us an interesting story first.
Bud? Didn't I just spend a whole day telling you kids stories yesterday? Scary wanted that. But Geo's here today, so I guess I can make an exception. Alright, close your books, everyone.
Yay!
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Huh? Close the books? Mr. Shepard's classes are... different. We hardly use our books, and instead, he tells us interesting stories. Wow. Mr. Shepard likes to say it's not good for kids to grow up only knowing how to study. Okay, I'll tell you a story about brother bands. You all know what brother band is, right? Okay, it's almost like I want to speed through this. Or in other words, no matter how advanced we get, we must never forget the importance of relationships. And that's the hope the brother band represents. Ding dong, ding dong.
But Professor,
good
is this
timing.
going to be on the test?
No, you still need to learn. Screw you. Well, that's the end of my story. Now go have some fun on your break. So this is what the class is like. Interesting stuff. If I'd known it was this much fun, I'd have dragged you here earlier. Meanwhile, Anime Omexis almost literally drags him into school. I never thought you'd find it interesting. Oh yeah, guess I should say hi to all my classmates.
So how did they manage to gaslight him into going to school?
Well, you already read about it. Prez was dragging us into school because we were integral for our play, but we don't know our role yet. But afterwards, the teacher, the one you saw up front, actually saw right through Prez's plans and just let us go home. But Geo was having... Wait, you saw that scene with Geo at night, right? That he couldn't sleep?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason why he's now here. He just couldn't sleep. Not going to school bothered him, and he already has a broadband, so... Do you know about Steady Wave? They're going to introduce it at our school soon. It seems that by just switching it on, its waves can help people study better.
What in the pseudoscience bullshit is that?
So which of the satellites are you registered with? I'm registered with Pegasus. What about you, Geo? Pegasus.
Oh my god, we're friends. Being sure
Oh
the same
god.
satellite.
Hi, Geo. I hope we can be friends. Oh no, they'll be my satellites orbiting me, the Earth.
It's really funny if her thing changes every depending on what version you're playing, so that she always has the same.
I don't know if that's the case. Actually... Oh no, you weren't there with the epic diss! Oh god! Ray! Oh no!
Oh, no.
The reason I was saying satellite orbiting me, the Earth... Geo got
I
so
was there.
fucking fed up with Luna the whole time trying to drag him into school that he called Luna a satellite because she orbits him so fucking much.
Yeah, I was there for that.
I was talking about Ray. Ray
Oh,
wasn't
okay,
there.
yeah.
Talking to
Right.
Ray, yes. Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Ray, didn't you know?
I
Oh,
play
no,
dodgeball at
the- oh,
recess.
God, the
How about it,
VTF is
Geo? Want to be
happening.
on my team?
Oh no, it's clone tier. It's twinning. Well, time to do some kissing and maybe some more afterwards. Finally, everyone is here. Take this great gift for coming to school. From me, the president of this class. No. No. Try to make friends with everyone soon.
Wow, you got a full with.
But
Wow, it's all shit.
It'd just be like, wow, thank you for giving me a paper folder the first day back at school. You bastard.
oh, thanks, I appreciate it.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
It's
Oh,
like,
I can
prefer
edit
gold
this.
store. It's like I prefer gold store come showing up. But
I knew it, I knew it, I knew it.
course you online censors.
Yeah, that's right.
Satellite.
That's what Geo called her,
it
remember?
is, yeah.
Yeah, because she's the moon and he's the Earth. So
What's a reformation? Mrs. Shepard's classes are different and they're really popular among the students. What did I forget to talk her to? Oh, Pat. Nope. Hi, Geo. It looks like school is going to get more interesting. Well, yeah, with Zorork, Mr.
Yeah.
N. And then afternoon classes started. As you know, we have our rehearsal this afternoon. Oh my fucking god, I didn't actually expect her to go, as you know. Oh god. So everyone hurry up and get ready and meet up in the gym.
Thanks you too, Geo. I want you to pull me in to the gym.
I knew
Again.
I knew there was something behind here.
Again,
Ah.
it's like, no, I don't have anything else to be. I don't want to be in school. Let me guess. Is that a bottle of alcohol? Is that the secret?
The dude actually always has coffee hanging around his neck, according to supplemental material.
Okay, I know exactly what I mean by supplemental material, but my mind automatically went to like a
Suppositories?
like a whole. No, I was not talking about suppositories. No, I was just thinking about like a homeopathic remedy. Because you can buy it like Colin Barrett, like.
Lol.
Oh yeah, like mushroom coffee, which is awful. I really don't like.
Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. We're going to rehearse without costumes today. Here we go. Scene 35. Megaman appears. Action. Hold it right there, cowman.
Who are you?
What the fuck?
It's a play about...
I mean, I know it's a play, but...
No. I want to say what the play is about, my dude. It's a play about that car scenario. Where Bud turned into Taurus Fire and went onto a rampage.
As he did. It's like, oh no, my secret identity has been put out.
Yeah. There we go. Bud is Cowman and Pat is Megaman, so that's who's playing who. Whenever people cry for help, I will appear. I am Megaman, the Blue Bomber. Why do you use that stupid American name? This is nothing like the real me. Your face is like Reggio.
That was so.
That's why he's cut. But that was awful. You've got to be more monster-like.
But I'm a person.
And Zack, up in the lighting area. Your timing is off. You're too fast. She's so nitpicky. I was just thinking, what? Isn't Mega Man a little too cool? You're telling Lois Lane that Superman is not cool. Do you have a problem with my glorious script? I mean, whenever people cry for help, I will appear. I don't think even Mega Man has that much free time. No, he will always appear. I just know it. She sure has a lot of faith in you, Gio. Oh yeah, speaking of your script, what am I doing? That's right! I almost forgot. Your part is...
Dead body number 5.
I was expecting him to be a trash can.
That's for the sequel. I knew you'd be perfect. This is the important role. The one they needed me to do. I've been tricked!
Bamboozled.
Okay, that's a wrap. We have to practice again tomorrow, so be prepared. I would run straight to the teacher for that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Especially after he saw that Just Prez was coercing us. Even if I just didn't mind being fucking a tree, but whatever. Oh well. Wait, where do I go? Oh. I wanna see the whiteboard.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be 2 minutes. I need a cup of tea, so I'm gonna make tea.
Sure, make a cuppa.
Yes. I'll
make a cuppa, not a kippa.
Yeah, I'll make one and send it to you via digital waves.
Ooh, T-waves.
Not too confused with T-virus.
Oh god. No. Unlock her. Oh, that's nice. Also, if you didn't notice code, the color system from Battle Network is still in this game. So, blue mystery data is set mystery data, and purple is locked. Our boy came back to school recently. Now the class is whole again. You know, you kinda look like that boy, but I tell you, this kid wears the funkiest glasses I've ever seen. Is that supposed to be the new style or something? And this visor isn't funky? Huh. And yes, I can still control the game with the wrong screen still up. Still Ice Meteor 2? She passes.
They're trying to jip you.
Yeah. Damn motherclockers.
mother clusters.
Look, I'll never recognize him as a swan these days. So mother cluckers it is.
Look, I can only see him as a goose, so...
Duck, duck,
You're closer.
goose! Nope, you did not hide like that, thank you. Oh, that's slow, jeez. Oh, that's a merchant. Brave sword. Petocado. For longsword. Because it's just a straight upgrade. Oh, you sell chips and items. Bumbleizer! Hey, from Battle Network. Wait, what was Strike Edge again? Oh, that's just an Elix sword, gotcha. Not bad, not the greatest. Oh. Nadia Clean. Her favorite brand is Kleenex.
Maybe she's related to Mr. Clean.
Oh god. I'm studying for classes. Never eat soggy wheat. Never stand for north and eat. Stands for north and eat. Stands for east. Soggy is for south. What's wheat stand again? I'm sorry, what? I totally clocked out. What the shit?
It's like, never eat soggy wheat, and then you just go like clockwise through the compass.
So west.
Yes.
Okay, I have
It's not west, it's
never...
funny.
I've never heard of that before. Ah, that's right, it's west. Well, I'm glad at least you remember. I'm studying for classes. Never eat soggy wheat. Never stands for north. Oh, eat stands for east. Soggy is south. What's wheat for again? Winter. Alright, that's winter. Wait a sec, winter! No, 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 that's not it. That's a season of the year. Okay, now... Oh my fucking... No.
It's just supposed to be a silly mnemonic that you
I
can
know, I know.
remember.
Mnemonic. It's such a weird word. Radar Missile 2 is still good, Radar Missile 3 is annoying. Let me see. I need to turn this off. I don't know why it constantly turns that on. Okay, Sickness. Let's go. Greening. Turns adjacent panels into grass.
Why did I say the medical term mnemonic when it's a mnemonic? There we go. Mnemonic.
I did say mnemonic.
I know, I was correcting myself.
Gotcha.
Because I was like, that doesn't sound right.
I don't really like White Wave. Gets caught on way too many objects. Okay, girl. It's your concert.
Yep, back. Who did you model this time?
No one. I just went exploring.
Ah.
Oh wait, I could have increased my rank if I just used that attack last and not first. Oh well. Oh what?
Ooh.
Oh what?
Oh what?
Oh, what?
What?
Oh. This is how you get more views on stream. You just make random red panda
Wah,
slash
wah, wah,
furry
wah, wah,
noises.
wah, wah, wah. Oh, wah. Oh, wah, what?
You just see a possum who scream at your ass.
To be fair, possums are the epitome of fugly. But
Oh,
also
don't tell me
cute.
neither is hit now. Wreck.
You know, possums only live like 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Hi, Matsu. I find it annoying that they get it off like that. Ah!
Fuck you, Vad.
I hate it when it just targets something I'm not looking at. This game was not made like that. There's a fan patch where you can just activate a mode where you have a cursor and just go toward, just lock onto the transfer you want to go to, or the whatchamacallit, or the comp.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really annoying me. Anything here? Yeah.
Navi? Oh no. We're gonna ask you to look and listen.
Sorry, what?
Navi? Zelda?
Oh! I think I read somewhere they might be considering making a 4th game. Seeing the sales success of this. What? They're actually going through with the 4th game, maybe? No. Hey, who wrote graffiti here? For Pete's sake, graffiti is not allowed. Let's see. What does it say? Thanks, Wave Dude, for all you've done for me. I guess I can let it slide. Big maybe, but it's not a full no at least. Interesting. Keep on working hard, kids of Class 1B. I'll be watching over you. Beep, beep. Okay, so about the 4th game in the series, because that is interesting as all shit. So they did have plans for a 4th game for Battle Network, but because it sold so badly, they just never went through with it. So, in the 4th game, Geo would be a fugitive. And he would be teaming up to distant ancestor of the... distant relative of the main character of the Battle Network series. And they would be constantly on the run from the police. Fans really want that game. Because it sounds interesting as all hell. They also have, whatchamacallit, a concept art of that. Give me a moment. Starforce for concept art.
Hope you like breakfast.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, Rockman Corner. That's where it's from. Let me see. Then we go to the voice text. We go here. Also, they do be looking good in those outfits, not gonna lie.
I was gonna say, look kinda gay.
Geo looking very gay or bisexual there, yeah. We stand our LGBTQIA plus representation here.
We just want to make men loving each other.
Yeah. Hey, there's a reason why most of the Mega Man games are sausage parties. Oh my fucking god. Two people here. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. beep. And now for a song. In the northeast corner of the town of Echo Ridge, a school brimming full of hopes and dreams there is. Echo Ridge, elementary school. Thank you. Beep, beep.
Can you kill him?
I'm the scat man. Also, I totally did not do that properly, but whatever. No, it isn't. Shut up.
What? No, that's... Hey. I'm popping out for now. I might hop back in later.
Sarlepep.
Listen to Horde by code.
Sensar Lebep, I think it was. You, Geostellar, who have broken the code, I bestow this upon thee. You got DI. I think that's a weapon.
Oh. What?
Makes an HP bug with a charge shot. That's interesting. So that's a very slow drain effect. But yeah, this game and the Battle Network games like to hide codes like this. And the fun thing is, this email thingy, it actually worked among brothers in the game. So along with friends you had playing this game. So you could just send mails, but if you did it in a special way, you can just send it to the secret server for Cypher Mail. Also, because this is the right, but not all codes were distributed. A lot of them were Japan exclusive.
Yeah.
So what they did, they added a cipher list. These are all the whatchamacallits. These are all the codes you can input. Like Sensar Lebebub. I also did I love Battle Network for funsies.
Oh, I thought I said wolf.
No. It said Woodwolves. It said Woodwolf. It says Woodwolves.
Yeah, but I thought it said wolf.
Oh, Wolf Woods. Oh, it's Wolf Woods with its letters scrambled, just like the top one, Megaman Starforce.
Yeah.
Now I want to know what Wolf Woods gives me. Hey, Cygnus Wing here. I didn't see that before. Huh. Okay, we're doing Wolf Woods. You, Geostellar, have broken the code. I bestow this upon thee. Cloaker. That's just to eliminate encounters. That's kind of useless in the collection because you can just turn encounters off. Yay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wolfwoods. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Wolfwoods today because it's already 9:30. On the other hand, I am having a lot of fun playing. Plus cannon. I think that's a pretty strong cannon. Never mind. I thought it was the strongest version, but it's only the second version of that attack. Roulette! There we go. Cleaned up. Wait, have I been there? No. These things all look the same, literally. Excuse me, but do you have a sync hook too? If so, I'd be grateful if you gave it to me. It looks like I lost mine in transit. I'll gladly repay you with something of mine. Please give it if you have one. No. Oh. Sure. Appreciate the thought, but it looks like you don't have it. Thanks anyway. Huh. He's pretty nice about it. Small energy. I'm the herd of Class 1A. The kids here study and play hard every day. I want to play too. Beep, beep. I almost thought they were going to rhyme, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be another ill quote rap.
Especially in the way I do it.
I did because it gives me flashbacks to primary school.
Oof.
Yeah,
Have I been here?
Yes, that was songs.
I forgot if I went here. Yeah. I have been here. No. I also don't think I can run here, so I'm just doing these battles just because I can. The optimal way is this, I'd say. Thunderbolt 2. Better than Thunderbolt 1. Do I even have that one in here? Yeah, I do. Just a straight upgrade. I don't really think I'm gonna use it much, but yeah. Ah! I was right next to it. I hate this. They really should do something about the proximity of that thing. Oh, hey. It's Bob and Bob's cousin.
Dob.
Dob.
Bob and Dob. The half. Wait, no, that's. I was going to call him the half oak Bob, but I'm like, no, that's Soak's Ventures D&D.
There we go. Don't think that's gonna be a high score. Nope. I mean, it's fine. But still. That's everything, because this is the gym, and I've already went to the... Oh no, never mind. It's a foyer. What do you have to say? Beep, beep. Hi, this is the Echo Elementary School's foyer. The old lady who runs this shop is really nice. You know what? Let's just do this, just in case I teleport myself up to the second floor again. I mean first floor.
The 10th floor.
Also, funny thing about that, in Dutch we call it a deepening. Or an étage. Savory de lecho. Oh dear, I have delivery to make, but I can hardly move with this pain in my hip. It looks like that old lady needs help. Well, what do you say, help her? You're
No.
more heartless than I thought.
Oh my god!
I was trying to talk to you. I'm a Echo Elementary School, Echo Elementary Security Navi. Was placed here after that property damaging incident. I hope if you see any suspicious people, be sure to contact me. Oh my... Ah!
We don't want to talk to the old lady. Is this suspicious?
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. Battle Eye. Oh, Blind Eye. May blind someone with a charge shot. I am getting better weapons now. So I might actually go not use the Battle Network Blaster anymore. We'll see. Okay, let's see if we can hit these fast enough with the missiles. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that would do it.
Oh, 100. That's actually pretty nice. I'm slowly upgrading my deck, huh?
Yeah, ever so slightly.
I also know which attacks I really like, so... Or at least mostly know that. It's been a while since I played this, so... let me see, what was this again? If the 10 digits is even, Yeah, that's...
Did this fucking keyboard for to fucking American layout.
Yay.
Why? I never used the American layout on keyboard because it sucks.
You might have something on that changes it over if you hit Control Shift. I can give you tech support if you want me to, just for as an intermission.
Sorry, fixed it. For some reason, my computer. I've just got I should explain the setup I have like upstairs all that because I don't actually type on my laptop keyboard.
Yeah.
Usually, although I have a Bluetooth keyboard, and for some reason I updated my laptop the other day, and it decided to reinstall the American language pack as default. So I've had to liminal lobotomize the American South.
Yeah, I've got the same. Imagine going onto a server and then get the US localization and US date time.
Oh, God. Oh, you think the time's bad enough? You should see the date formatting.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Again, that doesn't nearly as horrify me compared to the Japanese date formatting. We're going very silent and us so feel.
Oh, sorry, I was just talking with someone. Banged out 2 quick messages. Go home? Go home. Surely nothing's going to happen.
What could...
No, it's fine,
go
Matsu.
wrong?
It's fine, Matsu. I can talk pretty fast. I need to talk fast for my work. Oh boy, you wouldn't believe. Meanwhile, at school... Man, I should get home early today and see my kids. Mr. Shepard!
Time for you to get possessed by by an FM alien.
Principal Loud. I would like to have a word with you. Please follow me. Yes, sir. You can tell he's the principal because he's blue instead of grey.
Oh.
So what is what you would like to talk about? Our classes are as usual, not in line with the school curriculum. I've warned you several times now. If I may something, Principal Loud, I wholeheartedly disagree with the school's curriculum. Wow!
What?
I'm sure you're well aware, Mr. Shepard, of what my goals were when I was made principal. I want to turn the school into one of the best. If I did that, enrollment would go up, and then we could raise the tuition fee as well. Are you saying there is a problem here? I think studying is more important then, but there are many things that are equally as important. Raising a bunch of people who only know how to study isn't going to do any good. You speak of ideals, but if the students' grades can't compete with their peers, they may transfer to another school. Am I wrong? Oh, yes, speaking of curriculum. You were also against the use of this. The study wave? Yes, this is my trump card. This will allow me to turn the school into something much better. The study waves transmissions connects it with all the classrooms, and the waves it broadcasts induces brain activity in each and every student. Every class except yours, of course, has yielded favorable results. School should be about people learning from other people, not machines, and who knows what bad effects the waves have. Bad effects the study wave may have on the human body. Use the waves in the first prescribed amount and everything will be fine. Listen, I want you to use the study wave in your classroom effective immediately. If you do not, it will be your neck. There are many other qualified teachers. You need money to survive, don't you? That is the reality. So give up on your foolish ideals and deal with it. You don't have to be such an asshole about it.
Like, dude, he's like, the fact is, Mr. Shepard is already on the chopping block for getting fired, considering he's not even following the school curriculum. You don't have to be a dick.
Oof, yeah. Also, holy shit, I thought that his eyes were always closed, but look at that, he's a blinking animation.
Wow.
Damn. I can't. I'd rather be fired than teach classes aimed at raising test grades. But if I got fired, Daddy!
I mean, dude, why not become a life coach then? Because it seems like you don't really care
Hey,
too
Mr.
much about
Shepard,
being
you have 6 kids, right? No, 7. Daddy, come play with us. What will happen to my kids? Where will I get the money to raise them? I have a duty as a father, but... Mr. Shepard? Mr. Shepard! Oh, Mr. Shepard! Those kids are like my own. I don't want to raise kids who can't do anything except study. Oh? I didn't catch what it said lastly.
Neither did I.
What am I supposed to do? Okay, Ray, what do you think will happen?
Let me guess. He's gonna end up getting contacted by an FM alien because.
Okay, what do you think what the FM alien will be?
Well, it's not cancelled.
I
can tell you that much. It's not gonna be
because
not
he's gonna live
cancelled.
longer than that.
Yeah, exactly. He has a decent prognosis, so
His colonoscopy came back fine yesterday.
came back fun. Jesus.
Shall I proceed?
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I'm
What am I
not
supposed
well
to
acquainted
do?
with astronomy.
What did the Lemite say? Who's there?
It's me, your inner conscience.
Wanna weigh your dilemma on my balance?
What? I don't know astrology.
Libra, scales. What are you? It doesn't really matter who I am. Is your problem much more important? How do you know? I was having problems. I can see through a lot of things. Oh, yes, I'm in a real pickle. Should I go with my ideals or be more realistic? You don't need to weigh that one. The answer is obvious. You should pick what's more stable for you and stick with the people in charge. But look at it this way. Haven't you been kinda unhappy with this school? That's... Oh, the voices are going to get to me. They are so gonna get to me. Whisper, whisper. What's with that guy? Things more important than textbook. Our job is to teach what's in the books. Isn't he only trying to be hip with kids? Whisper, whisper. I wonder if that actually caught on the microphone. We'll see.
Yeah.
Meh. You feel like other teachers give you the cold shoulder, don't you? How do you know about that? It's the fate of all idealists. What should I do? I think you have an Earth saying that goes the nail that gets hammered, that sticks up gets hammered down. Also known as tall poppy syndrome. And in Dutch it's called sticking out above the mowing range. Yes, we say people get mowed down if they stick out too much.
Very descriptive, yet metaphor.
Sounds like what's happening, though. It's a smart way of doing things, I'd say. The next morning. Okay, better get to school now. Also, did I ever get mail? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, I have been staring out this window for the past 8 hours. I have not slept once.
No. He hasn't looked at the window for hours. He's just been stargazing. Hoping he'll find his dad in the stars. Dark.
As you know, his father became an actual constellation.
I mean, he's at the right temperature at least. Oh, Kelvin Stellar. I still think that Geostellar is a stupider name than that. Kelvin actually is a name.
Yeah.
You're late, Geo. Hurry up and sit down. Huh? Oh. Okay. That's on. It's not like the bell's rung yet. Now, let's start math class.
What? But the bell hasn't rung yet.
There will be no talking in class.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
Much better. Also, starting today, we'll be using the study wave. Why all of a sudden? Is there a problem? No?
Okay, kids, time to get brainwashed.
Mrs. Shepard is acting kind of funny today. Are you ready? The study wave is now on the air. Hey! Math tables are pouring into my head. Yes, it would seem so. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15. This doesn't feel good at all. More like it's forcing its way into my head. Hey, Geo, put on your visualizer for a sec. Okay, here we go. There's some weird thing floating above everyone's head. Is that the study wave? It's not a very pleasant wave, is it? Huh? What do you mean? I don't think they're good for the human body. That coming from the alien emitting dangerous radiation?
Yeah, I know. It's just, I have to laugh out. It's just like... like, why the fuck did the principal even input in such an experimental technology in school in the first place?
Grades, everything for the grades. Mumble mumble. 9 times 8 is 72, 9 times 9 is 81. What a terrible and quiet class we had today, all because of that study wave. It's totally different from yesterday. Second day in school. Grumble. This is boring. Who was that?
I was half expecting someone to, like, keel over and stop bleeding.
You think it's boring? Listen, classes do not need to be fun. Grades are what is important. You must raise your test scores and grades. Higher, 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 higher. Mr. Shepard! Who's that? He's here.
Metal Gear.
I have changed. I have no need for our deals. It became crystal clear to me last night what's really important. Study wave, continue your broadcast. Okay. I need to take a sip again. This is one of those situations.
Oh boy.
Two sips, actually.
Make it 3.
Mental preparation. Not needed yet. And I'm going to switch over to the big water bottle. 3/4 of a liter instead of half. Okay, let's go. The questions keep coming. They're flooding my brain. Okay, I can't do that.
He's still on the 1 times table.
Oh, I'm gonna get this from all the numbers.
What is she now, Luna? What is Shiva Luna? What is Shiva Luna?
Oh no, she's revolted to being in Japanese.
Yeah, she says, I'm Luna, I'm Luna, I'm Luna. I'm losing. Domageto, domageto, domageto. Thank you. Thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. Danke sehr, danke sehr, danke sehr. Myself. Help. Someone. Sup. I understand. I will not waver from my path.
That's not intimidate at all. Holy shit.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear. What's that from? Sounds like sure. Hey, Geo, snap out of it. Of the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. What? I am... What?
It's The Landlord's Tale, Paul Revere's Ride by Longfellow. I don't
Paul
really...
Revere's Midnight Ride. Paul Revere's Midnight Ride was an alert given to Minutemen in the province of Massachusetts Bay by local patriots on the 18th of April 1775, warning them of the approach of British troops prior to the battles of Lexington and Concord.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that...
So, like I said, Oh, hey! American localization. Jeez. I wonder if the European localization did something else with this.
Hmm.
He lost himself completely. That witch wave's got him. Guess I've got no choice. Mega! Yo,
Yeah.
if you hear me, clench your teeth. Mega! Upper! Oh, lift jab! Also, I hear myself, by the way. Ow! Ow. Ow. What am I doing here? And why does my cheek hurt? You back to you being you? Yeah, I hear myself, right? For your, stream. Your audio.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Hmm?
Weird.
Ah,
Mega,
no
do you
idea.
have something to do with my face? No time for that. We've got to go get that guy from before. That was Libra. You have me enough balance. Do I have to do this? Is there anyone else? Besides, you're here, aren't you? I can't even believe you're saying that. Why are you talking to yourself? And? What the Zoroark? Huh?
Zorg's immune to your brainwashing.
Pat! What a mess. What happened to the teach? Are you okay? Yeah. Wait, huh? Yeah, but I'm glad you're okay. It looks like everyone's in danger. You've got to hurry and stop the study wave. But how? The study wave's controls are in the studio. The teacher probably went there too. The studio. Okay, got it.
Gee, I wonder if she's actually an FM alien or something.
I think it's a he. Or, no, I think it's actually NB.
Yeah.
I don't
just
really know
go
for
they.
certain.
Just go they for the...
Yeah, let's say they them.
Yeah, just
I
for the
kind
sake
of
of
forgot.
sanity.
Yeah.
If just because
You've got to hurry
I
and stop the
hate...
study wave. Hmm?
Yeah, it's just I hate things when it's like... It's just like, I hate when things just say like, instead of just using a gender-inclusive pronoun like they go like, you know, he/she can do this or something. It's like, just say they.
Yeah. They did that a lot with the Pyro from TF2.
Hmm.
Like, they never say straight, they just keep on referring to the Pyros he and she for funsies.
I mean, to be fair, I think the Power's got bigger issues rather than gender identity.
Mr. Shepard. Well, a bad kid running from class, I see. Why are you doing this all of a sudden? There's nothing to explain to you. It's a grown-up's problem. All I can say is, I will make this a top-ranked school. That is all. Then the things you said before were all lies? What happened to their things being more important outside of school and books? That's... Get a grip. You're losing the precious balance you had. You don't need to worry. By the way, Gio, how's it that you can move freely? Oh, I get it. This tidal wave isn't strong enough. In that case... What? In that case, I'll have to pump it up. And this time all controlled from in here.
Oh boy, well, everyone's gonna get
no one's
Mega
so calm.
Sword cancel.
Yep, rain cancer coming up.
Then
We've got a pulse in.
Yeah, or at minimum, everyone's gonna be having a stroke.
Oof. Well, we're fucked. There aren't any wave holes here. We're gonna have to pulse in from somewhere else. Let's get out of here and look for a wave hole. Okay, I know where to go, but it's just like... That feels so pointless. Oh wait, no, it does have a point. I remembered something. It does have a point. One times 4 is 4, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 6 is 6. Also, I'm trying to give him a Gutsman voice. I don't know if you know Gutsman.
No, but it's like, even the goddamn study waves can't make him smart.
You know? What now? That wasn't in the classroom. Oh!
They actually holy shit, they actually noticed.
What if something happened to him? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
You saw? Okay.
I mean,
you can
I can't...
about it all you want. But you can't do a thing about it right now.
I mean, I kind of noticed they weren't there, but it was just like... I was just more like... I'm most surprised they actually called it out.
Yeah, we've got to focus on beating Libra first. Yeah. Do you really think you can?
I thought you were gonna give me a
that
text.
Voice.
No.
It's that guy from before. The one who gave the hug of doom. We've got our hands full with Libra, and now we've got to deal with him. Ren. Hey, what's your deal, punk? You working for Libra? Meh. You won't get away this time. Here he comes. Get ready, Gio. Gio? I can't win. Because I lost last time. Don't be stupid, kid. But what about your friends? I'm not a hero. I don't want to get hurt. I hate pain. To be honest, that would be me in that situation.
Yeah.
Straight up. Are you done?
No.
Ah! Take this. Hug of Doom! Told you it was a Hug of Doom.
Yep.
Not good. Squeeze. It hurts so much. I can't take much more. I'm gonna faint.
Deus Ex Machina, save us.
Where am I?
Shit, I died.
Oh, I get it. That guy must have sent me here. Hey, you're not that far from gone. Or not that far gone. It's supposed to be this empty. Omega says you and you're running your mouth. Gio.
Papa?
Was that your honest guess? Tell me.
That's how I expected. Yeah, I was expecting. I could not turn that bad.
I knew the answer. I did not expect that to be your answer. After coming all this way, are you giving up? That shadow. You're the guy from before. You know he's got Pegasus magic. Come on. You are not this weak. Of this I am sure. You keep talking about my power, but what can I do about anything? Will you truly give up here? Can you not hear them? The voices that cry out for you? Voices? Lip. Long play like record? Help. Kelp? I'm sorry, it's just a bit stupid.
Just a bit.
Help. Help us, Megaman. Luna.
What happened to our class president powers?
Stop! Please, don't put me in any more danger. I'm not that strong. I'm not a hero. I'm just an ordinary weak elementary kid. So, that child believes in you. She will believe until the bitter end. I ask you once more. Geo, will you give up here? I want to protect... That girl believes in me. I want to protect her. Finally. Not gonna lie. Pretty good scene. Although I'm just kind of like, the circumstances are really weak. I understand why they're doing this. The dialogue could have been miles better than this.
Yeah.
Finally, those words pass your lips. Okay, that is actually a... That would have been a good response for an actual scene. If you fight for something important to you, your strength becomes unrivaled. That is the mark of a huge man. Fighting for someone? The preparations are complete. The power of the stars, the Starforce, is now accessible to you.
Oh no,
Sprite
you're
scaling!
me. But
But dump. My body?
oh god, I'm shooting out
What?
Starforce!
I'm shutting up rainbows! Where's the power coming from? I'll protect her. Just watch me. Impossible. I'm not gonna act that out, thank you. Wow, My Little Pony. This is a Starforce. With this I can beat him. Interesting. This time, I won't lose.
You went from wolf to brony.
Before you use the Starforce in battle, allow me to explain. While you are transformed, the number of cards you may pick increases. No longer are you limited to the cards of the same column, but you may now pick of the same row, and your charge shot now will now freeze your foe. It is an attack called Ice Slash. Lastly, your Starforce Big Bang, or SFB. Starforce Big Bang? Metal Gear? It is a powerful attack which utilizes the power of my satellite. To use the SFB, you must first perform a counter. The bonus card which comes from that will change into an SFB battle card as long as you continue to be in your Starforce form. All you have to do is press A, and the SFB will fire down upon your enemies. The SFB is a ferocious power and you should try to obtain it, but only when it is possible. Use it wisely and it will be a great asset. Remember what I've said. Now focus on the enemy before you. Got it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now I can also pick sideways instead of in a column. Very handy. Where did his health go? Ah. Oh, he does it twice. Okay. Sure. This is over. What? He does have an element? What the heck is his element? Weird. Sure. Also, I'm saying he and him. I should probably say they. Yeah, I'll get you for this. He got a... Oh, it is he, apparently. Okay. The Starforce. What power? With this we can beat anyone. Yeah. This is also all thanks to her. Now, imagine being... Imagine playing a version where you're weak to the upcoming boss.
Oh boy.
Thanks, Luna. I got stronger because of you. Now it's my turn. I'll protect you. Count on it. Okay, now to head to the studio. That voice. Megaman? And why do I taste pennies? Blah blah Starforce, blah blah Starforce, blah blah Starforce, blah blah Starforce, blah blah Starforce.
Which email shall I send to the Starforce?
Beep beep, I finally got a piece of mail, and there's no one here. I've been tricked. I think there's more going on than just that. But sure, you get concerned over the mail that has been sent in properly.
Yeah.
There we go, Taurus Flame. Or Taurus Fire. Wait, isn't... I think the attack's called Taurus Flame. That's what it's what it gets called out as in the later games. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, that's a stronger barrier. Okay. Actually, I do want to read that email. Now I'm confused. I'll review how to use the Starforce. If you choose the Starforce card you put into your folder from the custom screen, you will be instantly changed. Your brother registers on satellites, on Pegasus. You can choose to use the Starforce after that brother too. Oh, okay. So the interesting thing is... I can actually turn the Starforce off. But normally it would also be that because Sonia is on Pegasus, I would be able to transform into Pegasus using her card as well, so I'm kind of confused by that. Oh well. Oh jeez, this is an annoying layout. Only goes +1? You cheap arses. Really? Oh, did not expect it to be this fast. Okay. Oh wow, I was literally on the tile that was making me move. Jeez. Plasma gun 2. Actually pretty nice. Because it hits multiple enemies. I made it here alright, but roads are so complicated. I don't know how to get back. What should I do now? Get the Legacy Collection. Ooh, that is powerful. 5,000 times 20 is 100. It's also really good for countering. And then I can show off the special attack of the Pegasus form. Let's not go back to the start, shall we? There we are. And this is also back to the start. Yeah, being able to see the whole map is so nice. Oh! Oh, right.
Oh boy.
Mr. Shepherd's back here somewhere. Time to hit the books. Oh, I hate this synth. This sounds like a kazoo.
It does a bit.
Yeah, I think I like this better than the arranged version. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the original music here. Yeah, that's the reason why I was like, oh no. Nice one, kid. Where the heck do I go? At the very least over here, I think. Heat Ball 2. That is bad. But yeah, the reason I'm looking around so much because random encounters like these! Yay!
Thank you, Cancel.
Oh, it's so weird hearing the original song now. Also, do you like the loud sound of the buster?
It do be a noise.
Wait, what?
The loud noise of the
No. What the fuck?
Oh.
Brother? Personal? Oh, Warrock! Warrock. That's what it's saying. Let's go with Battle Eye. That should really, reduce in the cacophony. I think it would say Starforce or something. Wow, I'm blanking way too hard. Nice one, kid. I think he's gonna say the same thing all over and over. You know what? Executive decision, we're gonna change back to the arranged versions of the music.
Fair enough.
Bum. Yeah, this is actually the first arranged song that I'm like, I don't like this as much as the original. Which is interesting. Oh. Occupying the same space? Sure. How about no? What does that someone give us? Hello? Oh, I'm timed. Also, that was just a random guess of whether it was 5 or 6. I was like, I'm not gonna count that. Look, I'm on the timer.
Yep. Ooh, big stretch.
Ooh, stretchy foxy.
Yes, big stretch. Yeah. Also, it's like we've got him fucking what he had a fucking spot like burst on the back of my neck. It's like, oh, pain.
Ow!
Yeah.
Oh, I now see that this is one of those... How do you call these triangles? One of those measuring
Those
triangles.
things,
Geo triangles, we
yes.
call them.
Don't ask me what the fucking call, because I don't know.
I don't even know why we call them geo triangles, per se, but... And no, it's not because of Geo from this game.
I didn't even think about that.
Meh.
Because geometry, probably.
Yeah, probably. Geometric triangle. We just never say geometric for that because it's way too long. Geometrische driehoek, or geodriehoek. So, yeah. Bayer 100. Oh, nice. I don't even have one of them. Yeah. I thought I wanted to replace them. Ooh, these. This will be fine. This will be fine. This is nice. There we go. Fire Bazooka. That's the family of cards Bob Copper had in his transfer. It's the startup was way too slow. I don't want to wait ages before I can fire the weapon. 8. Oh. Nobody's a winner. Oh boy, I'm pessimistic. Oh, come on! Doesn't count right sometimes. Oh. Win?
I guess?
They just ran into each other. Oh. Humpty Dumpty sat on his wall. Humpty Dumpty took a great fall. Right?
Something like that, yeah.
Also, that is not in my native language.
I've not exactly thought about nursery rhymes in quite a while.
So it's very tempting to just go out of this comp space and go back in, but that would not heal me. I would go track all the way back from the place I came from. Which is gonna take so much time. There we go. Yay, Fire Bazooka, my favorite. Had a great fall.
Hee hee.
Yarn Ball. Okay, that one was easy. Surprisingly enough. Nice one, kid. I think that's all of them.
Have you killed the education system?
I wish.
Spin!
Also, I didn't get the Starforce card a single time out of all these battles. Come on. Staplers, huh? Wait, what? Oh, there's a door in there. Okay.
Why is it making you do math?
Fuck. It already made me do math, so Also, I could not find the subject because I was on a goddamn timer. Do you know how hard it is to do that kind of thing under pressure? To be honest, I'm also probably slow because I'm tired. But it's so much fun.
Your reaction speed.
Ow.
Oh, slowing.
Hell. Oh no. I'm a dying. Let's see. Like this. I was even pressing the shield button not to take damage. Okay, we'll came from here. This way. Maybe I just need to slot in some healing. Because I'm taking so much damage. One is probably enough. He's gonna regret saying that, but sure. Yeah.
Oh, don't you just love how your array so
14? 101. At least these questions repeat. Jesus.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. I feel so dumb. I just realized the rules so in binary.
Sorry?
I just realized the rules on the floor are in binary.
Really?
Yeah. It's ones and zeros.
I need to look at that. Oh,
just realized.
nice health. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
101010. Huh. Also, the
Say
game threw
that's
me
a-
a bone and gave me a giant heal there. Usually it's if you do badly in these kinds of games. Nice meteor too. Huh. I'm just saving now because I don't want to fucking die to a stupid
Fair
question.
enough.
Yes. Okay, with us.
You do the power of Tusk could defeat education.
Okay, that way. I know it's not great for my grade, but eh. How about a counter it for your troubles? Tailburner 2. I remember that being kind of strong. 130. Sure. Oh, what? I saw something. There. Oh. Oh, that's good. That's nice. That's independent. That attacks independently from me. Okay. Oh, 15? 15, okay. Oh, come on! I was on the literal tile. I didn't even need to move there. There. I love this map this look ahead feature. That saves so much time, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't believe it.
I wanted to almost brag about something, but good thing I kept my mouth shut about that. Yeah, this weapon is better, I think, than the Beam Blaster. And who might you be? I'm Megaman. Hey, Libra. Well, if it isn't the traitor Omegasis, you can balance loyalty with treachery. Meh, it's no wonder I said traitor, right? Well, seeing you balance water with fire isn't exactly bringing a smile to my face either.
I think you know why I'm here. I came here to find and destroy you. Don't underestimate us. We just got new powers to bring it on, right, Gio? We're gonna put a stop to the study wave. I'm sorry, but I can't let you. If the kids' grades don't get any better, I'm gonna get fired. Fired? I didn't know. So that's why you did this. But that's not a good enough of a reason to make your students suffer. That's just cruel. That's... Hey, how many times do I have to tell you? To protect something, you've got to sacrifice something else in return. That's reality. Yeah, sorry. I can't get fired. And I, as a father, I must protect my own kids. You must protect them? Well, that's the same for me. I have someone I must protect too. That's why I must stop you. I must. I see. I do not want to fight you, but in this situation, I must. Let's do this. Here he comes. Brace yourself, Gio. He's the stupidest looking boss in this game. By a country mile. Also, magical girl transformation time! Waiting for something. There we go. Oh, really? Just because I moved? Ugh. That's even. Okay, that does not count as an attack apparently. Or I mistimed it. I wanted to do the cool super! Apparently it wasn't in the cards. The enemies do get stronger after a while. Ugh. Now's our chance to turn the wave off. Just shoves him aside. Is this the one? Steady wave emergency shutting down. Steady wave emergency shutting down.
Your self-destruct system operational at 10%.
School self-destructs in T-minus 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Have a nice day. That shit turned the steady wave off. No. You think you can stop me? Still wants to fight? No. Please stop. I can't lose. I can't get fired. Not now. Mr. Shepard! That voice.
It's the principal the whole
Mr.
time.
Shepard! Mr. Shepard!
You're fired!
You're fired!
Hello, random other kids and main characters.
It's not here either. Where did he go?
Do you think he ate something bad?
But in not mentioning food, I never thought that he would mention food so much in the first game, but jeez, it's just his goddamn personality here. Just like in the other games. Do you think he has a fever? If he was sick, Mr. Shepard wouldn't say the things like, we need to get better grades. That's why we must hurry and take him to the doctors. We've got to get our teacher back. We've got to take a teacher back. Get up, teacher back. Let's split up and look for him. And not shutting down the study wave. Okay, I gotcha.
I mean, to be fair, they probably don't know what the fuck's happening.
I can't believe it. They still believe in me. This horrible person I've become. Hey, what do you think you're doing? I've been a fool. I can't face my kids anymore. What about your own kids? You gonna just let them starve? No, I must protect them all.
What are you saying? Have you lost it? I will continue being a teacher, but I won't give up on my ideals either. What I lacked was the resolve to see my philosophy through. I realized that after seeing the kids' kindness. But I told you, it's impossible. It might be, but it's important to keep on putting all you've got into something. If you keep on trying, even the impossible becomes possible, and I have a duty to pass that idea on as long as I live. It's my duty as a father and as a teacher. No!
He's back to his usual self.
He gave Libra the boot. Alright, come on, Geo, let's get going.
And that's how this incident came to an end. Soon after that, there was an investigation into what caused the whole mess. It was accepted that the study wave messed up Mrs. Shepard's head, and that's what happened. Because of that, people began to rethink the use of study waves in school. What happened to Mr. Shepard?
He fucking died.
He died on his way to his own planet.
Is
No,
he the
no.
principal?
He took full responsibility and resigned.
Oh. Okay, that was a bit more unexpected. I have expected something to repeat.
Mr. Shepard is going to disappear, that's what everyone thought, but... The students who heard about it were against it. They collected signatures and presented the petition to the principal, all to persuade him to let Mr. Shepard stay at Echo Elementary. After seeing it, the principal reluctantly gave in at the end. Sprite
Yeah,
walking
that-
out, Sprite walking in.
I mean, yeah, that is a very realistic thing.
Totally realistic. Would always happen, especially in red states in the US.
Oh, you're saying that's why you should look at the UK government petitions.
Oh
It's
god.
It's like we have we have seen the amount of signatures on this petition and against killing puppies. The government's response is we're keeping the current legislation about killing puppies. This issue is now closed and any further petitions will be disregarded.
I heard that's what happened to Stop Killing Games.
Well,
And-
that's what I was meaning. Yeah, it's like anything's online privacy, the fucking Stop Killing Games thing in the UK. Yeah.
Gotta laugh, non-binding. Well, okay, non-binding petitions can be pretty exploitative,
Yeah.
but still, you are chosen by the people. The people want you to do something, and you ignore the people.
Yeah.
And that's how Mr. Shepard got to keep on being a teacher, just like before. Then, a few days later, it was the day of the school event.
Rotkin visits the school and someone gets isekai'd.
What? That's absent today? I didn't plan for this at all. Who would have thought he'd get sick on the day of the big show? So now what? Do we cancel the play? I have an idea.
Oh no, I have to be Megaman?
That's perfect.
Holy
Oh, the one time the
shit.
fucking music actually fits. Ah.
That is a face only a mother could love.
Oh, give me a second. And ban. Okay. It's perfect! Please,
think this over one more time. Oh, stop. There's no one else here but you. Oh, and I made one change to the script. In this part, I'll protect you, count on it. What's with this line? During that last instant, when I was pleading for help, I could have sworn I heard someone say those words to me, and I'm sure that someone was Megaman. Oh, why am I even explaining this to you? Well, I did say those words, and I will now have to mince them. I guess she hurt me. And then it was time for the performance. Ah, hello! Be quiet! No! Someone, please help me! And this is where Mega Man comes on stage. Don't mess this up, Chio. Hold it right there. Huh? Who are you? I'm Mega Man, the Blue Bomber. No way! Isn't this a real Mega Man in the flesh?
Oh, you,
Whisper,
Luna,
whisper,
you
whisper.
absolute
What happened?
idiot.
A power outage? Darn it. That was careless of me.
And it's bad costume.
Yup. Huh? I thought it was the real one. I'm sorry. Out of context, this is hilarious. I'm gonna screenshot this as well. I knew it was just my imagination. I must be tired to mistake Geo for Mega Man. But you know... Chris, your line! Oh, you came here to save me, right? I'll protect you. Count on it. Why? Why is my heart racing so fast? It's almost like there's the same person. Clark Kenting. 1 week after the wildly successful play. Are you certain of that? Ding dong. Geo, everyone's waiting for you. Got it. Oh no. Oh no. How long were you planning on making us wait? I took the time to personally come and get you. The least you could do is hurry up. It wasn't... I wasn't even 5 minutes. I think you mean it wasn't even 5 minutes.
Maybe?
Besides, no one said you have to pick me up every single morning. I don't want you to stop coming to school again. Now that would be a problem. Yeah, so show the press some thanks for her kindness and get ready early, got it? Please wake up 30 minutes earlier. Man, you guys need to chill and stop pushing so hard. I've got my own speed.
Mother.
Thank you so much for everyone for doing this. Oh, good morning, Mrs. Stella. So how's Geo doing in class? He didn't go to schools for so long, I'm afraid he might even be a bit behind everyone else. You don't need to worry, Miss Stellar. I am the class president of Class 5A of Echo Elementary, Luna Platts. It is my duty to watch over all of my fellow classmates. Right, Geo? Yeah.
Let's face it, you're just... This is not what a class president does, for fuck's sake.
Well, I hope you will continue to be good friends. Of course I will. Right, Bud? Zach? Yeah, of course. Certainly. Wow, really? That's great. It's nice that he's made such good friends. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, we have to go or we'll be late. Well, we wouldn't want that. Off you guys go then. See you. Bye, Miss Stella. Come on, let's go. You sure act different around my mom. You think so? Anyway, we have to hurry or I will be late. Oh, we just get plopped into school, okay. I heard that from Harp that another FMian showed up in Echo Ridge. Are you okay? I hope you're doing alright. Geo, use the Starforce well to save your friend. I now bestow you yet another power. Power lottery much? You can use this to protect... You can use to protect this planet with. The name of this power is the best combo. If you are able to create a combo of 3 or more cards which cause more than 300 points of damage during one turn of a battle with an EX or SP enemy, that combo will become a best combo. However, Mega and Giga class cards do not count. Best combos are just that, a good combo of cards. You can store up to 7 best combos. You can choose one of them to be your personal best combo. If both of them, you and your real brother are on air at the same time, and they use your Brother Force cards, it won't be a card roulette, but your personal best combo will appear instead. Also, there is a person who can change best combos into battle cards, I have heard. If you would like to use your best combos, I suggest you seek this person out. Remember, you and your brother's powers can increase, but only if you help each other. I wonder if I can actually exploit this. No! Do I? Don't I? It is gaining lays. Okay, I want to know what this scenario is. And maybe beat a crab out of someone. Oh, hi, Principal. Good morning. You're Geo from Class 5A, right? Ah, that's great. Keep up the good work, alright? Yeah, hurry up and get to class. Hey, Pat. Hey, morning. Looks like you're fitting in just fine, just like me, a Zorork. I'm happy for you. Zor.
Don't ask why who went the other day.
I was just running in the forest. You feel like a part of our class now, right? Good, then I don't want to hear any more of that not coming to school business. I'm starved. I can't wait for lunch. You're prepared for class today, right? Reviewing one of the keys to good start. What? Reviewing one of the keys to good study habits? Oh my fuck. Damn, that broke my brain. Oh god. Did you catch what he said there before or not?
Yeah, I did. It broke my brain as well.
Okay. You're prepared for class today, right? Reviewing one of the keys to good study habit? Brr. I get what he means, but only after just parsing it like 4 or 5 times. Oh no, I forgot my homework. My dog ate it. I'm the teacher's helper today, so I've got to be happy and helpful to everyone, sure. Did you watch the best 1000 countdown? The Navi pop group Navip was so cool. Oh no, wait. Did you watch the best 1 countdown? I wonder if that's also the case in other European countries beside the UK. The dots and the comma are swapped around in the Netherlands. A comma is to denote a decimal, and the dot is to separate out the thousands. The Navi pop group Navip was so cool. Should I buy a Navip glossy photo card? But I bet I won't even find one since they're so popular now. Yeah, I thought so. Need to talk to everyone. Huh?
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm getting flashbacks to Cyber Sleuth Mr. Navit.
Don't worry, there's nothing like that in this game.
Thank God.
After school. So there was jack all to do. They just skipped over school while they wanted me to go. And that's it for today. Now, I want you all to go straight home. I don't want to hear anyone was horsing around. Oh, and Bud, you still have to turn in your math homework. If you still don't have it by tomorrow, it'll be 1 week of detention. Oh man, no way. My head's gonna blow if I have to think that hard. Didn't you say 3 days ago that you had it finished, but you just forgot to bring it in? Prez? Don't look at me. You should do your homework on your own. If I helped you, it wouldn't help you in the end. I know it's asshole-ish to say of her that she said that, but she's right.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's behind in school, and if you let others do your homework, because I've got an inkling of a feeling. Right, Mr. Shepard? That's right. You should try to do them by yourself. Oh wait, she's just sucking up to the teacher. But I always do it by myself and give it my best. That's funny because the homework you turn in always has the same mistakes as sex. Coincidence? Yeah. Oh! Oops, I even warned him not to copy everything. Please don't laugh at him. If Bud needs extra tuition, you know, school's not half bad. Mr. Shepard and the others, are really nice. Yeah. I never school could be this much fun. Oh, and one last announcement. Geo, can you please come to the studio after we're done here? I'd like to talk to you about something. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. Yes, sir. Alright, class dismissed. And remember your homework tomorrow, bud. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Honestly, what are you thinking? You should at least do your math homework. I never thought I'd be this embarrassed to be brothers with you. I'm really sorry, Prez. Zach, I want you to go home with Bud and start on those math problems right away. But didn't you just tell him not to do his homework on his own? Plus, my favorite cartoon is on tonight. Do you really think Bud can finish it all by tomorrow? I don't think so. That's why I want you two to hurry it up and get to it. Yes, Prez. I understand. Come on, Bud. Let's go. Stop dragging your feet and start running. With brothers like that, is it any wonder why I'm always so tired? Still, you could spin it a bit different than make his homework, but still. Back to her usual cheery self, I see. Yeah, being brothers with her, it must be taxing. Well, I should get moving to the studio. Why does this school even have a studio?
Because... Yes, exactly.
Excuse me? Over here, we're over here. Remember I was talking about a cop?
Yes, I do remember you talk about...
Oh yeah, the dude also has a EM wave shield.
So you can't get possessed?
Oh yeah, we at first tried to get into his trancer. That's why we knocked him out with a baseball.
It's like, shit, he's gonna remember me.
Yeah. What's wrong? Come on in, come on and say hi. I totally forgot about this scene, not gonna lie. I do remember needing to go there, but not the actual reason. This is Mr. Bob Copper from the police. He's looking into what happened here during that incident a few days ago. I haven't seen you in a while. Almost forgot your name. Gio, wasn't it? Yes, sir. And what can I help you with? You remember the incident here, right? Yes? I was looking around the school today, and I found some very high levels of Z waves. What I'm getting at is that anyone with eyes can see this last incident was drenched in Z waves, and it happened just as soon as you set foot in a place you haven't been in for 3 years. Yeah, the dude actually has a head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Now hold on a second, Mr. Copper. The cause of the accident was me. This child had nothing to do with it. If anything, he's a victim. Hey, please calm down, Mr. Shepard. I wasn't saying he was the culprit. I was just trying to see if the boy knew anything. Maybe something we don't know. Right, Gio? I have no idea what you're talking about. Come on now, you must know something. After all, you've been close to every other incident so far involving Z-Waves.
Yeah, detective actually doing detective work. Even with that stupid antenna on his head.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's part of the Satella police. You might have heard them being mentioned before. But yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Satellite police.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean I know anything.
Alright, Geo, don't be shocked, but Z-waves are really an alien life form.
How does he know that? This is bad. Just how much does this old man know?
These aliens have bodies made of EM waves that normal people can't see with the naked eye. When they get near humans, they get inside people and get them and make them do evil things. If you don't watch out, you might get taken over by an alien too. And if that happens, you could be a danger to everyone around you.
Somehow, I think it's too late for me.
EM aliens? Oh, that's alright.
But you can't trick kids today with any kind of story like that, right, Gio? Second time I'm mentioning that laugh, but it's funny to just do the Titus laugh. So,
are you certified, Mr. Copper? He really knows nothing about any aliens.
Gio, can you go home now?
Mr. Copper and I have a few things to talk about. Mr. Shepard, I must insist. Wait, it would be a bad idea to get on the teacher's bad side. Better play it safe. Okay, I suppose that's enough for today. Sorry to keep you from getting home, Gio. I'm sure we'll see each other again real soon.
Bye? Just books it.
Yeah.
I mean, creepy adult is being creepy.
Guess the old man knows about us Ephemians. He's probably gonna tell us like crazy from now on. Even more than before.
And just when I had made some friends to talk about things I could do with that. Well, at least we can go home for today. I want to see if I can trigger a best combo. But I don't know if I can beat cancer. It's just so funny that I can just put it like that. And it kind of makes it, and it may only make sense in context. I need to go back to my classroom and get it ready to go back home. What is this? They even were talking about going home. Is this gonna be a Zoroark scene again? Everything's all packed and I'm ready to go. Did you and Mr. Shepard finish already? Oh. Did you and Mr. Shepard finish already? She even has her hand on her hip. Ugh. So what did he want to talk to you about? It's none of your business. Oh? Boring. How do you expect me to have become friends if you keep on saying things like that? Friends? You still don't know how to make friends, do you? School's only half as fun when you don't have any friends. Well, I guess I can let you join my group since you look so pitiful all the time. Me join your group? Oh, hey, do you see that?
Yeah.
The boy's smiling! Aww!
What the hell's wrong with him? He's not allowed to smile. He's only allowed to frown and be somewhat hypnotized, I guess.
That's right. I also told Bud and Zack to be nice to you. So aren't you happy? If you are, you should say something. I'm happy, but I don't really know if I can be a good friend to anyone yet, so... Sorry. Turning down my invitation is definitely not the way to become friends. If I ever invite you again. If you want to rethink things, I suggest you do it now.
Oh shit.
You scared me opening the door like that. And by the way, how are the math problems coming along? I don't think you two can finish that quickly. Are you slacking off? Say something! Am I right? So you're not going to say anything?
They're an annoying bunch, aren't they? You mean the Precious Goon Squad? Goon Squad? I don't even know where to begin. No, that's not what I meant at all. Then what? Ah!
Are they doing an
What are you
exorcism?
doing? What's the meaning of this? Gemma! Mar, 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 mar.
Oh boy, someone call a priest.
Ah! Jam. Bad insect turns into monsters. Luna, get back. Those two are imposters. You're in quite a dilemma, Geostellar. Who's there? Jam. Over here. Over here. Did you miss me? Let me introduce you to my newest creations, the EM humans. They're a little low on the brain, but guess what? If humans stay near them for too long, they become just like the EM humans. Now, if you quietly hand over the Andromeda key over to me, I'll let you go. If not, I think you know what's gonna happen. I can't change into Megaman in front of Luna. Hey, wait, who are you talking to? I see, you have no intentions of giving it to me. That's fine, I can pry it from you. Go, my EM humans. Ah, they're coming right for us! Come on, don't be stupid. All we can do right now is retreat. So first, let's get out of school. Come on, Luna, run! You don't have to tell me twice. Why didn't you do so already? Oh well. Also, he's just standing there.
Menacingly.
Menacingly.
But yes.
Let's get out of here. Fast! We're gonna get locked in, don't we?
Most likely.
Don't stop so suddenly. Shh, quiet. Jam. We can't get outside with that guy there. If only I could find a place to stash Luna, I could pause in. Well, we can't go forward, so we've got to turn back. What are we gonna do now? So now what were we gonna do? Or whatever the sentence was. We can't get out from the front, so we're gonna have to turn around and find another way out. Are you kidding? There's more of those guys back where we came from. I know that, but this is dead end. And it's just as dangerous here, so let's get the heck out of here. What is with you? Ever since a few minutes ago, you've done nothing but tell me what to do. I guess I don't have much of a choice, though. Hey, wait for me! Also, I think I've shifted the voices so many times, like you wouldn't believe. Today's a special case, but don't think you can boss me around, okay? Maybe she just likes being bossed around.
Perhaps.
Geez, I wonder if they're going to get locked in by jammers coming from the elevator. Hey, what are those monsters, and why do I get the feeling you know something? I don't know anything. I guess not. If only Mega Man was here instead of you, he'd squash those guys in a heartbeat. Oh, Mega Man! Why won't you come and save me?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put myself in danger so big Mega Man can mega bust in.
Mega, shut up. The elevator's here.
I saw that.
Jam. Yeah. Look, they're really into strawberries, cherries, raspberries, a lot of sugar.
I mean, I quite like ginger basalt myself, so.
Ginger, okay. Oh yeah, there's also orange. Luna, get into the classroom, hurry. Oh, okay. Okay, that is totally different. Jam. Compote. Jam. Marmalade.
I think we gave them the slip. Huh, how many of those creepy guys are there? There's so many that are bound to spot us sooner or later.
She's right. She's right, you know. You can't run forever. If you don't do something about the jammer, you guys aren't gonna get out of here.
Now, I think it looks like I don't have a choice. This room seems to be safe for now. This may be our only chance. Let's go. Luna, I'm going to try to get rid of them. So I want you to wait here. Can you handle being here by yourself? Are you stupid? You can't go alone out there. You can't go alone there alone. What can you do? My dad used to say that even if there was a sliver of chance, it's better to do something. But it's dangerous. It would be right. Object you. But dump. So please, promise me you won't leave this room. What did you just say? It will be alright. I'll protect you. What am I thinking at a time like this? It's not like he's Megaman or something. But it was sort of kinda cool just now.
So close.
He is still Clark Kenting. So let me go up to the back of this room and turn it out. Oh. That would have been funny if I was just doing it behind her back and she was not hearing me yell. The fucking transformation thing. Yeah. I think I need to get some sleep, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll need to actually head off with myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I also defeated Libra's skills. I should have stopped back then. Oh wow, I've only already been playing this game for 11 hours. Damn. Oh well, no beating the crap out of someone today. We will beat cancer tomorrow. I think.
As you do.
I hope.
Yes.
Hey, thank you all for watching. Have a nice day. And see ya. Oh, if it wants to stop. I hate it when it does that.